Hi, welcome to episode 9 of Sunday Stitches. How are we all? I hope you're all keeping well, and I also hope you're enjoying this beautiful weather that we're experiencing here in North Wales at the moment. It's so nice just to have the bright light and the warmth of the sun, especially when I'm out walking Evie after months and months of wind and rain being battered by the elements. It's lovely just to take a nice slow walk with the heat and the brightness, and also getting a little bit of a top up of vitamin D along the way. I actually have a glass of water with me today instead of my usual preferred cup of tea, but yeah, water is much needed today because it is that hot, and I'm not complaining. I absolutely love it, and I should be popping out later and enjoying the sunshine, either by doing a little bit of gardening, or I should be doing some weaving on my really large peg loom and making a really large rug. So I might show you a little bit of that at the end as well if I have time. Okay, where to begin? I think before I dive into the projects that I've got here, I will just update you on a project that I was making a few episodes ago now, which was my dog star jumper by Knits, and I was using the Crofland Aran. So it was the grey jumper with the teal detail, and it was the jumper that I told you, do as I say, not as I do, because I had changed a lot of things in that jumper, including the weight of the wool that is in the pattern. So I used an Aran weight, and the pattern was actually written for a DK weight yarn, and I changed quite a few things in that jumper. But I just want to update you to say that the jumper did turn out perfectly. I would never recommend that you do that because it's very rare that a jumper or cardigan, if you go off track of the pattern, will actually turn out okay. But luckily this turned out beautifully. So what I'll do is I'll just insert a picture of me wearing it, because I haven't actually got that jumper with me now. It's actually being washed because I have worn this jumper so much. If you're a customer that comes into the shop, you would have seen me wearing this jumper a lot. It's been my absolute favourite over, well, until it started getting a little bit warmer actually, but I have worn this jumper a lot. I've got a lot of wear out of it already, so I may in the future possibly make another one. My only downside is I don't think I made notes. So again, do as I say, not as I do. Make notes all the time when you're changing a pattern. I really did wing it, and I was very, very lucky that it turned out perfectly. So yeah, do as I say and not as I do. But just a little update, I love that jumper so much. So moving on now to some newer projects that I don't think you have seen. So I'm just going to have a little bit of water, and then we'll dive into what I have with me. And I do actually have a little bit of crochet to show you as well. So yeah, I've got some knitting, crochet, sewing, and a little bit of weaving to share with you actually today. So let me just have a sip of water and we'll dive in. Okay, before I share my knitting projects, I think I'm just going to share with you my crochet updates, because these are quite fun and I really enjoyed doing them, and I haven't done crochet for a while. So you may have seen that knitted gnomes are everywhere at the moment, and they're such a good idea for using up scraps of yarn. However, I am not knitting gnomes, I am crocheting gnomes, because I came across this really beautiful book, Year Round Gnomes, and I just thought these looked so much fun, and I hadn't done any crochet for a while, and I wanted to give my hands a little bit of a break from knitting, so this seemed like the perfect project for me to do. So the first one I did was this little Easter gnome here, because obviously I haven't done a podcast for a while, and we have had Easter, so I made myself a Easter gnome from the book here, and here it is, and I absolutely love him. I think he's so cute. I just think it's just so sweet, and it came out really, really well. I made him using 100% cotton, James T. Brett 100% cotton, and it was a really fun make. and it uses very basic stitches. So even if you're quite new to crochet, I think you'll be able to manage these gnomes. If you can do single crochet and increase and decrease and some colour change, you'll be absolutely fine in making a gnome from the book. So yeah, this was a really fun project to do, and I enjoyed it so much that I decided to make the next season gnome, which is Blossom. So here is Blossom. So this is year-round gnome. So there's a gnome for every season, which I just think is really good fun. And again, I made Blossom using 100% cotton, James Brett, and very easy to do. Again, single crochet, increase, decrease. I don't think there was a lot more than that. A crab stitch for the border here. But yeah, everything else is quite basic crochet, I would say. So my plan is to make a gnome for each season. So eventually I shall have a whole collection of gnomes. So yeah, just great fun and a really good way to use up my cotton stash. So really recommend this book. And that's from the book Year Round Gnomes. So the next one I'm going to make, let me just have a look and see who's next in line. So I've just done Blossom. So next is Suki, and I absolutely love her. So I'll just flick through quickly for you and show you the gnomes. So you have the Christmas gnome here, which I cannot wait to do that one as well, Bixley. Then we have the Valentine's gnomes, and then yeah, we've got the one I've just done. I'm just trying not to show too much of the book because of the pattern. And as I say, then we're on to Blossom, which I've done. That's Blossom. And then we have Halloween. And then we have Halloween Autumn. I just love him. Look at his pumpkin. Another one I can't wait to do. And then we have, oh, this is Daryl. He's quite a generic gnome, so he could be for any season. Yeah, that's all the gnomes. So really good book. Yeah, I can't recommend this book highly enough. I think they're all very fun. If you do get the opportunity to purchase this book, I would do so because it's very fun. Okay, so moving on now to knitting. So as I say, I finished that dog star sweater and I'm really pleased with it. So I thought I'd have a change and move on to making some cardigans. Now, cardigans are not something I make for myself. I'm a jumper person. I love jumpers. I love tank tops, anything like that. So cardigans are not really on my radar. I have made a cardigan before, which if you're a long time viewer, you may remember the really chunky cardigan I did with like bobble sleeves. And that's the only cardigan I've ever made. So I thought I needed a challenge to make a cardigan. So I have started one, and this, I'll put the, I can't remember off the top of my head the name of this. Oh, I do remember. It's the Step by Step cardigan by Florence. I'll add the details onto the screen because I can't remember them all, but I know this is called the Step by Step cardigan. I'm sure that's what this one's called. So it takes you through a bit more slowly. So you have videos and you have the written pattern as well, and you have options of what you want to pay for the pattern. So if you're on a very low budget, very tight budget, you have 3 different payment options. You can have the pattern for free. You can put in a code to download it for free from Ravelry, or there's 2 other payment options. So which I thought was really good. So if you are on a bit of a tighter budget at the moment and you do still want the pattern, as I said, then there is some payment options on that as well. So this is the step-by-step cardigan, and it's in an Aran weight. I had a lot of people coming into the shop recommending Crofland for jumpers, so for that reason I ordered it in, and the Dog Star sweater was the first garment that I'd made using it, and I was really impressed, as I've talked about in my previous videos. So I decided to use the Crofland again for this Aran weight cardigan, and I've decided to use it in the colourway Teddy, and I really like how it's knitting up again. You know, I can't really fault it, and I have worn my Dog Star sweater a lot and it's wearing really well. So this is the progress I have made so far. So I'm nearly there. I have to add the button band, and it's at this point that I have a little bit of a mental block now, because it's a double button band, and I say I am not experienced with cardigans at all, and it will be okay. I'm sure it'll be okay. But in my head, I have a bit of a mental block about this double button band thing going on. So I've started picking up the stitches ready to start the button band, and that's really as far as I've got. So I need to just sit down and not panic over it, I think, because I just think, I don't know why I think it's going to be so difficult. And it's silly because this cardigan has been sat like this for a good few weeks now, just waiting for the button band. And then I'm done, I'm finished, and I can wear it. So I really do need to crack on with that. And I did think about chickening out of the double button band and just doing a different type of button band, but I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to persevere and hope that it's not as daunting as I'm making it out to be in my head. So if you've done double button band and it isn't as daunting as I'm thinking, then do drop me a comment in the comments below, and hopefully I'll be encouraged to get that done this week, because I really do need a cardigan. I have lots of jumpers, and now it's getting warmer. Even though it's an Aran weight, this will still be great for walking, even in the evenings when you have that cool breeze, or early in the mornings. I still would like an Aran weight jumper. So I just need to finish the button band basically on this, but everything is to pattern. It's in Aran weight as per the pattern. I did the second size and it fits really well. So I can just pop it on. Let's see how we're doing. So let me just, it's a bit difficult because I've got the needles for the, but it's just hip. It just hits me on the hips here, which is perfect. So that is the step-by-step cardigan. And there is nothing difficult about it. It really is a very easy knit. And I'm sure the button band will be just as easy. I just need to get over this block of this double button band thing. Mum had seen me knitting mine, and she also really fancied a spring summer cardigan, and she does wear a lot of cardigans, so she would get a lot of use from a cardigan. However, she didn't want hers in Aran weight. She prefers a lighter weight knit anyway, so she wanted hers made in the DK Aurora from James Brett. So it's this here, which is lovely to knit with. I do like James C. Brett Aurora. 20% wool in here as well, so again it feels really nice. It knits up really nicely, and you have the automatic color change, which is really fun to use as well. So here we go again with do as I say, not as I do, because I'm changing the pattern from the Aran weight to the DK, and this pattern doesn't have options for different weights, unlike the tin can knit patterns, which I really like, as you all know, because very often you have a 4-ply option, a double knit option, an Aran weight option, so you can play around with it. However, the Dog Star jumper does not. I should just point that out. The Dog Star jumper that I've done is just for a DK, and I use an Aran, but that's I think the only pattern of tin can knits I've seen doesn't have the other options in. So this is another do as I say, not as I do, because I'm not using Aran, I am using DK for my mum's cardigan. and all was going well. As you can see, I am now at exactly the same point as I am with my cardigan, that I just need to do the double button band. So I really just need to crack on with these to get these finished. And this cardigan is perfect, nothing wrong with it, apart from the fact it doesn't fit my mum. She gave me the wrong measurements, so it doesn't fit her, but it will fit me. It's not a colour I would normally go for myself. I like the more earthy colours. However, it does fit me and I will wear it. So I will end up with 2 cardigans at the end of this, and I shall have to make my mum another cardigan in the correct size. So nothing wrong again with the pattern, and you know, to change the pattern from an Aran weight to a double knit weight for her, I just went up a few sizes to accommodate the fact that using double knit is not going to be as big as the Aran, and did some calculations on this measurement she gave me to calculate the size that I'd need to do for her. But as I say, it wasn't until a lot later on, until I'd split the sleeves, that she did a quick try on and it didn't fit her. And then we realised she'd given me the wrong measurements. So I do in fact have 2 cardigans if I could just get the button bands finished. So that's those. What other knitting do I have? Okay, so I am working on another pattern. I'm not sure what I'm going to call this blanket yet. However, it is a baby blanket. And the reason I decided to design this was because I was talking to somebody about heirloom blankets, baby heirloom blankets, and how you don't really see them anymore. You get a lot of crochet blankets and a lot of colourful blankets, but very rarely now do you just see a neutral blanket that could be for any gender and that can be passed down through generations. So I wanted quite a neutral blanket, but with some patterning and design to it. But I also wanted to make it a fairly easy pattern, because I know a lot of the people that come into the shop and who buy my patterns through Etsy prefer to have a nice, easy, memorable pattern. So I've come up with this. Let me just show you. Okay, so this is the pattern that I am doing. So I haven't quite finished it yet, but it's a lovely, memorable repeat. If you're a beginner knitter, as long as you can knit and purl, cast on, cast off, then you'll be able to do this blanket. And I just thought it just has those heirloom baby blanket vibes that could be passed on from generation to generation without ever dating. I do feel it's a pattern that would never date, and again could be used for either a boy or a girl, and could just be used and passed down for generations. And that was the idea behind this blanket. So I'm using the Crofland in this lovely cream colour, and I chose that because of the weight. It's not too fine and it's not too thick. So again, I think whatever the season, this blanket would work well, because it's got the lovely eyelets in it. So it's not a heavy winter blanket and it's not an overly lightweight summer blanket, but you could use it in summer and you could use it in winter. So I think it is a very, very versatile and perfect for all seasons. And the other reason I chose the Crofland is because it's machine washable. And I think for a baby blanket, a machine washable blanket is ideal. Now, of course, you could change this pattern easily and make it in a double knit or a 4-ply. You would just need more yarn and just make it to the same measurements. Obviously your cast on stitches, you'd have to calculate those differently, but the length of the blanket would obviously be the same. However, I just think it works really well in the Crofland, and it definitely to me has those perfect heirloom baby blanket vibes. which I was aiming for. And being by the sea, I love these little waves in it. So I may call it like the harbour blanket or something, the harbour baby blanket. I haven't decided yet. So yeah, I'm really enjoying working on it, and it won't be long before I finish it, and then I'll write up the pattern and I shall pop that on the Etsy shop for anybody who's interested in making it, or I will have the printed patterns available in the shop as well. But yeah, really fun knit and really enjoying this one. So that's that one. And what else have I been working on? Oh, okay, I know it's very, very early, but I have created myself a Christmas basket. So what I've done is, in here are my Christmas knits. And I know it may sound early to be talking about that big C word, but with everything else that I've got going on, I have a few patterns that I want to design as well through the year. So I thought in the background I would have my Christmas knits. So let me show you what I've been working on. So this is a really fun project that I have started, and this will be a present for two people, but in different colorways. And this is the frog here, and again, it's a really fun, if you're a beginner knitter, you'll whiz through this. It's just garter stitch and stocking stitch. So this is the side-arm pattern, and the wool used is their Love For, which is their recycled yarn. So it's a blend of waste from wool, acrylic and polyester. So I like the fact that it's recycling, and the yarn actually does feel really, really nice. The yarn, now that is not the right bag. Let me get the right bag. That's another Christmas project. This is the right bag. So here is the Love For in this green colorway, which is called, let me just see, I should have perhaps I got the band in here actually as well to show you. Yeah, I do. Okay, so there we go. This is shade 204 Fern. So you can see it's the like tweed effect in it. It's really, really nice, and it's really, really nice to knit with. Now, I didn't want to use this heather colour because I had some other colours in mind that I wanted to do for the people that will be receiving, because I'm going to be making two of these. Now, I knew at home I had some of the Cambrian pink, and this muted pink I feel goes really, really well with the green. So I wanted to use some of my stash up. So I'm going to be popping this pink with the green, which is what I've done. And I'll show you my progress so far. So this is the body, and the colours I think go really, really well together. So this is knitted as a flat piece, and then it's going to be folded in half to make the body, so front and back, and then we weave some yarn through here to cinch this in, and that makes the head there, and then the body. And then I've got the arms and legs to do, and I've started one, and this is in garter stitch, so lovely nice knit. Again, really beginner friendly, this project. So that's one of his legs anyway. So if I sit back a little bit, you can kind of get the idea there. And yeah, just garter stitch, and again it's just knitted in one continuous piece that you then fold over. So I just need to make the other leg and the arms and then sew it together, and that is one Christmas project that I've got on the go. And then I'm going to make another one for somebody else, but I'm going to be using an orange stripe because they love orange. So they're going to have an orange stripe frog, and I shall probably use the Cambrian because again it's a really lovely muted orange that's going to go really well with this lovely tweed green. So yeah, that is my first Christmas make, dare I say, that is on the go. I don't think there's anything else to say about that one. I'm just going to keep working on it as and when I can. So that's the frog. So the next Christmas project that is in the Christmas basket that I have started is a pair of socks. You know how much I love knitting socks. So these are for my husband, and he chose this yarn when we were on holiday or last summer, and it's a Malabrigo yarn that he really liked the colourway of, and he absolutely loves wearing my handmade socks. So he asked if he could have a pair using this Malabrigo, which is beautiful, beautiful colourway, and it does remind me a little bit of vintage Christmas lights. I don't know if that's going to pick up on camera, but when I'm seeing it here, that's what it reminds me of, and it does make me feel quite Christmassy when I'm knitting them because of that. Yeah, vintage Christmas. Yeah, that's what it reminds me of. This is the first time I've used Malabrigo, and I have to say I found it very, very slippery, and I found it quite hard on my hands to use it at first. However, I'm quite a way through the sock now and I've got used to it. But in the beginning, I did wonder if I was going to make these socks because I'm knitting them on 2.25, so my needles are small anyway. We both like a very fitted sock. I don't like knitted socks that are baggy, so I like to go down to a 2.25 is my preferred needle for all my sock knitting, and which is normally fine. And when I'm using a woollier sock yarn like the West Yorkshire Spinners, I have no problem at all, and they knit up really fast. However, as I say, this is the first time I've used the Malabrigo, and this is 100% merino. So it was just a little bit slipperier, and it did take its toll on my hands in the beginning, I must admit. I could only work on it for small amounts of time, but the more I've got used to it now, the faster I'm able to knit with it, and it doesn't really bother me quite as much. When we're away, I always like to buy sock yarn from wherever I am, and then I like to make socks that remind me of that holiday. So I picked up some West Yorkshire Spinners yarn when I was there for myself, and he chose this Malabrigo. So just got to complete the foot, and that will be the first one complete. So for a Christmas knit, I feel that's going really well, and I'm really happy that I've nearly completed the first sock. So that's that one. I'll just show you the ball, if you can see the colours in here as well. Absolutely beautiful yarn, so pretty. So I'll have a look for some more Malabrigo to try it out, because I know they do a sock yarn with merino and nylon, but this particular shop had decided just to stock the merino. So yeah, we'll go with it and see. But it is a beautiful, beautiful yarn. The colours are just stunning. So I'm sure that won't be the last Malabrigo yarn I'll be using. So I say, at first I did think it possibly would be the only time I would ever knit with it, but no, I'm fine with it now. And the other project in my Christmas knit basket is my Christmas stocking. So if you have seen my previous episodes, you will remember me starting my Christmas stocking, my beaded Christmas stocking, using the Rowan wool. So it's, there we go. So that's the Rowan wool that I'm using, and I'm just, it's 70% virgin wool and 30% alpaca. So I have to remind myself because it's been a while since I've been working on this. So again, this was a challenging project for me in the beginning because I have never done any beadwork with my knitting. So that is why I chose to do that as well as the colour work, which I was really, really enjoying. Until I hit this part here, and I still am enjoying it, and there's nothing wrong with the pattern, but it was my eyesight. I could not read the charts properly when I got to this part here, which is this snowflake. So it changes quite a lot. So the pattern for the top parts here were very easy for me to memorize. However, now we're getting into the detailed snowflake, my eyes could not concentrate on the patterning, the chart, then looking up to knit. It was making me feel quite dizzy. So I stopped working on that for a little while. And what was happening was my husband would have to read the chart out to me. So he'd be like, 1 red, 2 white, add bead, 3 red, whatever the pattern was. That isn't the pattern, it's just an example. But I couldn't knit on it without him telling me, without him reading the chart out to me and then me knitting it, which obviously I can't keep doing that. So I think I found a solution. I found this chart holder, so I will be able to pop the pattern on, and then so these little magnets here will hold the pattern, and then this magnetic ruler I can put where the pattern is, and I think I'm going to be able to read it a lot easier. So I've put that in the Christmas basket ready to work on again. So I knew I was never going to finish that stocking for last Christmas. That was never the intention. I would, however, like to have it ready and hung up for this Christmas. So I think with the help of this little stand here, I might be able to read the pattern a little bit easier and get that finished for Christmas. So that is my third Christmas project. I may add to this basket over time because I would also like to do some of the gnomes, the Christmas gnomes, as gifts. So yeah, I think for me, having a Christmas basket with all my Christmas knits in that I can just work on a row at a time or a couple of rows whenever I feel like it seems a lot less daunting than leaving it to August, then thinking about Christmas knits. And that time between August, September time till Christmas just runs away, and I never have the time that I really need to get my projects finished, or they feel rushed. So this way I feel they're going to be more enjoyable and I can work on them throughout the year. So that is my Christmas basket. So I should keep you updated. I say it might just be a couple of rows at a time, but for me it just feels a lot more manageable and a lot less daunting to cope with Christmas knits. So I will just show you a couple of other things I've been working on very, very quickly, because I know this is probably going on a little bit now. But the other thing I have started working on, which I'm really enjoying, is my English paper piecing. Now, I have been working on some hexagons. Now, I don't do things by halves because a lot of people, when they start a new project or a new craft, they will choose something very small to start off with. So say for the English paper piecing, I know perhaps I should have started with something like a pincushion. However, I don't work like that. I just dive straight in. So my first project I decided to do with the English paper piecing is to make some curtains for the camper van. It's going to be a very long project. I don't mind that. I like things that are going to take me a long time. And with the English paper piecing, for me, that craft is about slowing down and a bit more mindfulness, I guess. So I don't mind how long those curtains take to make. I can put temporary curtains up in the van, and we have block out shades as well. So it's not urgent. They're not urgent. They're just something that I would love to make for the van. So I have that as an ongoing project, and I should put a little clip in of how many hexagons I've made for that. And they're 1-inch hexagons, so it is going to take me a little time. I don't mind. So this is how far I've got. This is my tin full of my 1-inch hexagons so far. So I'll put that in. I've started another English paper piecing project because when I was away visiting my daughter in Leamington Spa, on the way back, we took a few days to get back home. So we had like a little holiday coming back in the van. I came across a little shop that had an English paper piece kit. So I did purchase it, and I have made some progress on it. So I don't think I've shown you this kit. So let me just show you. It is this Welsh lady. So it's English paper piecing, and then it's quilted onto this backing fabric. So I may not use the correct terminology because I do not know this craft very well. However, I am enjoying this craft very much. And let me show you how far I have got with it. So I should just say, in this kit you have a template that is pre-printed that you cut out for your English paper piecing, and I had the fabric included. So I had the templates which I cut, and then I have the fabric included which I have to cut myself. There's no threads or anything, so I have my own threads, which I'll talk about what I'm using in a moment, and then it just has very basic instructions on what to do with those. So let me show you how far I have got. So here she is. Here is my wash lady so far. So if I turn it round, you'll see all the pieces of paper, and this red thread here is just my tack-in thread. So what will happen, I have a few pieces left to do. So I have the bottom of her skirt and I have her feet to do. Now, one thing I didn't realise when I bought the kit was that the colours on the front here are not the colours that was in the pack, which I don't mind for the Welsh lady, but the backing fabric, which I'll show you in a minute, is not this blue, which I thought it was. And if I'm perfectly honest, I'm not overly keen on the fabric that is included in the kit. So I was not disappointed, but I was surprised that the kit was not what was on the front, and it doesn't say anywhere that the colours may vary. So I wasn't prepared for that. Had I known that the colours may vary, I would have looked through the packs that were available to check the colours before I purchased. That's my only little thing that I found with this. Everything else has been great. It's just, if you do come across this pattern anywhere, or this kit, just be aware that the colour inside is not the colour that's shown on the front. So as I say, for the Welsh lady herself, I have no problem with the colourways whatsoever. I actually really like them. The colour for the backing fabric that she will be quilted onto is this yellow floral. And there's nothing really wrong with it. It's just not my vibe, I guess. So I'm debating whether to cut out another piece of fabric for my backing fabric, or whether just to continue with it as it is. And because it was the kit that I purchased on holiday in the van, and whether just to complete it, because I do plan on hanging this in the van, because where we like to pick up sock yarn from different places we visit and then make the socks as little memories, I'm also picking up little craft projects that I can make, and then that will decorate the van. So I don't know whether to keep it as it is or whether it looks too busy. What do you think? Let me know. That's the only part of the kit, as I say, I'm really not sure on whether just to change that backing fabric. So as I say, I did think it was just going to have this plain colour, and it also doesn't come with the daffodils, which again, I did think it came with that, because the lady did say that it included everything that was shown, and it doesn't come with the daffodils. So if I want to put those on myself, which I can do, I can make them, or I can crochet them or knit them, I can add them on. But again, that was just something I was quite surprised at, was the colour difference in the fabric and the fact that it doesn't actually come with anything for the daffodils. So yeah, those I need to add on. So I'm not too sure on this fabric at all, but everything else I'm really enjoying. So as I say, all I've got left to do is to do the bottom of the skirt. So this is going to go onto here and then do her feet. And then once that's done, what I need to do is I need to iron it with the papers in. So this will all flatten out. And then I will turn it over, and I shall take all this red tacking stitching out, and then I shall remove the papers. So the great thing is I've got the templates to make as many of these as I like, so you can reuse them, because you're not actually sewing through the papers. Obviously with the tacking stitches you are, but that's fine. When you join all these pieces together, because they come in, you cut them into separate pieces, so you end up with all lots of pieces like this. So each section here was its individual piece, and then you sew them together. And as you can see, you can't see where I've sewn them together, And I think that's down to the thread I'm using, which I was recommended this thread by other English paper pieces, EPPs, other people that do English paper piecing, which is this dove grey Aurifil thread. And it's I can't remember the weight of it because I'm very new to the English paper piecing. I can't remember everything about this. I just know it's a dove grey Aurifil thread, and it's very, very fine. And they use this for English paper piecing. So when you sew the pieces together, the thread is invisible. You can't see it anywhere. And you just do very, very small over stitches to join all the pieces together. So I'm really, really pleased with how that's coming out. Then once all my papers are removed and all the tacking stitches are removed, she'll obviously be in one piece because it's held together with the over stitches of the Aurifil. I then need to attach her onto this fabric, and then I have in the pattern it shows me, I won't hold it up because obviously it's a paid for pattern, but it shows me where to put my stitches, which then quilt this, because this has got the wadding in, and then I've got the backing fabric like a calico on the back. So I have the chart to tell me where to do these stitches. So there's a running stitch around the edge, so you use running stitches, and I should be using the Aurifil again. And then some of the stitches come like round here, for example. But what I don't know, because I'm not experienced in this anyway, and if anybody can help me out, I would be very, very grateful, is how I attach the Welsh lady to this piece of wadding, this backing fabric. Do I sew it on with little over stitches like an applique and then do my quilting? Or do I attach her with a running stitch around the inside edge of her to attach? That bit I'm unclear of yet. And I guess it won't really matter, but I'm not really sure what the traditional way of attaching her to this backing fabric is, whether it's little oversew stitches like an applique or whether I do running stitches around the outside. So if anybody has any experience with English paper piecing or quilting or applique or anything that can help me with this, I would be very, very grateful. So yeah, not far off finishing her really, and I only started her a couple of days ago. So a nice quick project for my English paper piecing compared to my mammoth task of 1-inch hexagons to make curtains for the van. So, but I'm sure they'll look beautiful once they are made. So yeah, nice little quick English paper piecing project on the go there as well. So the other thing I've been working on is some weaving. We live quite near to a place called Abersoch, which is absolutely beautiful. And we stayed over just for one night in the van there, maybe 2 weeks ago. And it's one of my favourite places to go. It's so beautiful there. The beach is lovely, and they allow the dog on, so I can take Evie onto the beach. And we have everything we need in the camper van, so we stayed over the night, and we just had a really nice day on the beach the next day. And I collected some shells, and then it gave me the inspiration whilst we were out for an idea with my weaving, which I haven't been able to do any weaving for, I can't remember the last time I did a weave. So I collected some shells off the beach, and they just happened to have tiny little holes in the top of the shells. So I had the idea that I could use them in a weave and thread them onto the weave at the end. So I did that, and I did take a little video of me making that. So I'll insert some of that for you now so you can see. But I enjoyed doing that weave so much, and it to me captured the whole night and day that we'd spent there with the beach and the shells. And I picked up some driftwood, and it's very rustic, and I've left the ends of the weaves. I didn't weave the ends in or anything. I've just left them really wispy and floaty like the waves, and yeah, very, very rustic weave. And I've now hung that in the van as well, because that's the shells we collected from our trip in the van and the driftwood. And so I'm just collecting and making all these memories that I can then hang in the van. And it feels like the van is very much taking on our style, or my style at the very least. So yeah, that's quite nice. It's kind of building memories places we've been through, different crafts, whether it be the knitted socks or my weaving or my spinning. So I had some leftover driftwood that I picked up, and I actually picked up a really interesting branch in the woods that gave me an idea to do some weaving on. So I'll just show you that quickly now because I have that here. It's not finished yet at all, but just so you can get the idea of what I'm doing. So I found this branch in the woods, and then I loved this V shape here, and I thought that would be perfect. I could put a weave in the middle, and there's some driftwood, and then, oh, that's got caught on there. And then what I want to do is hang some more things on here. And again, I might actually hang this in here, or I might hang it in the van. I'm not sure yet. But yeah, it's just been lovely to have some time to free flow some creativity. And I know in the shop I can sit and knit all day while I'm there, but it's different when you've got time to be home and just have that creativity flow through. So I've really enjoyed working on this piece too. As I say, this one isn't finished, so I'll keep you updated on how this goes as well. I need to collect some more shells, so I want to go back to Abersock at some point. Or there's another beach I like on Anglesey, so I might go there because quite often I can find sea glass there as well. So if I can find sea glass to hang off the bottom like a mobile, like a sun catcher, I think that would be beautiful too. So that's another little thing I'm just working on in the background as well. So as you can tell, I have a lot of projects on the go that I'm really enjoying. So that's what I'm up to with my knitting, crochet, spinning, weaving at the moment. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to go out now and enjoy the sunshine. And I think I'm going to get my large peg loom out and work some more on my rug. So if I can do that, if the sun's not too bright, I'll try and capture some footage of that as well, and you can see what I'm working on. So thank you so much for joining me. Have a lovely day. Enjoy your knitting, crochet, sewing, whatever you're working on at the moment, and I shall catch you in the next video. Bye for now.